Alright, so, like I said, depending on when you're watching this, for me personally, the new Dead Rails update just dropped. And yeah, remember those things I said were leaked? They actually made it in. Fireworks? Yup. And not only that, we also got 3 new classes. Now, chances are, by the time you're seeing this, you already know what they are. But let me still run through a mini review of them for anyone who hasn't jumped in yet or just wants to hear what I think. Also, and this is important, what you saw in the thumbnail, that's not clickbait. Those are concepts for future ideas that could actually be added later. Just like I predicted with the fireworks and the night class, both of which I talked about in older videos, these devs definitely seem to be pulling from the suggestion tab on the official Discord. So yeah, it's not confirmed that they're watching it, but it's a reliable source for future updates. I've shown you this multiple times before. And yeah, for those saying clickbait, no. The title, Everything You Missed in the New Update, literally means the stuff you might have missed. Like hidden nerfs or indirect power shifts. For example, when they release a class that's clearly better than an older one without technically nerfing it. That's a stealth buff. Anyway, let's go over the update itself first, the stuff you might have missed. And then I'll show you some fresh new concepts that fit perfectly with the current update's theme. So, the update. 3 new classes. First up, Knight. He gets nearly full armor right away, everything except shoulder plates, and also a sword. No movement speed debuff like Ironclad has, which already makes him a better pick in my opinion. You can buy shoulder armor like 10 kilometers in anyway, so not a big deal. He also synergizes with the King class. King is like the President class, completely reliant on team synergy. The more knights you've got on your team, the more damage and health your king gets. But if you're playing solo or with randoms who don't have knight, it's pretty useless. Then there's Tycoon. More damage, more health, but your max money cap's at $2,000. Once you hit that, it resets. Risk reward, basically. They also added a new item, the Bottle Rocket Launcher. It does massive area of effect damage. Honestly, it feels stronger than the turret, but aiming is trickier. You'll need to hit from a decent range. And then there's the Firework gun. Basically a more standard flare shooter with AoE. Be careful though, it can damage you too. Also worth mentioning, VC lobbies and Pro lobbies. Pro lobbies require 10 plus stars, which makes matchmaking a lot more interesting. If you want a full breakdown of the rocket launcher and firework gun, just drop a comment and I'll cover it in another vid. Now, let's get into the main idea of this video. New concepts that could totally fit in after this update. Let's start with what you probably saw in the thumbnail. The Night Train. Picture a medieval siege machine, but on tracks. Fully armored, covered in spiked shields, and just barreling through. Every half minute, it lets off this intense flash. A blinding flare that stuns or blinds anything nearby. And the best part? It's got a special move called Lance Charge. The whole train just speeds up for a few seconds and smashes through enemies like a cavalry rush. It's wild. Next concept, Firework Zombie. Imagine a zombie with literal fireworks for arms. When it dies, it explodes in a bright flash that deals damage and blinds you for a few seconds. Sometimes it launches itself into the air and crash lands into players. Kinda like the Dynamite Zombie, but it also flashes you, which is different from Dynamite Zombie. Alright, now let's talk about the Fireworker class. Probably one of the flashiest picks we've seen so far. First up, you've got the Flare Bomb. It's exactly what it sounds like. Toss it down and the whole area lights up in flames, keeping zombies from getting too close. Great for holding down a spot or buying time to escape. Then there's the Roman Candle Shotgun. This thing fires off these bright popping rounds that don't just look cool, they actually knock enemies backward. It's like crowd control and fireworks all in one. And finally, the ultimate move, Sky Bloom. It shoots a massive firework up into the air, and then it rains down a shower of sparks that hits a wide area. Not only does it deal solid AoE damage, but it also temporarily blinds anything caught in the blast. Pretty epic if you time it right. Here's a new POI concept, the Throne of the Night King. a ruined castle guarded by shield-wielding spear zombies, where you'll find a skeleton king on a throne and can trigger the Knight's Challenge to battle through waves of enemies and earn a royal relic that temporarily boosts your damage. The Night King comes in swinging with some pretty brutal moves. Shield Bash knocks everyone nearby straight back. Good luck staying on your feet if you're close. Then there's Summon Knights, where he brings in backup, spear-wielding skeletons ready to swarm you. And finally, Final Judgment. A huge spinning slash with his flaming sword that just clears out everything around him. If you're too close when it hits, you're basically toast. The Fire Jester is a crazy little enemy that runs around laughing and tossing firecrackers, and if you don't take it out quickly, it literally rockets itself into the sky and explodes. Shield Bearer. A zombie that holds up a huge shield, making it immune to shots from the front. So you'll need to either sneak around it or hit it with splash damage. Knight's Bow. A mechanical longbow that charges slowly but hits hard, and comes with special arrows like the explosive bolt and the fire bolt, which ignites enemies and the area around them. Holy Flare Gun. Fires a beam of golden light that blinds enemies in a small area and deals extra damage to undead, especially skeletons and vampires. Bundle of Rockets. A placeable mine that, when triggered, blasts fireworks in all directions to damage and knock back nearby enemies in a chaotic flare of color and force. If these ideas get added, even just a few, they'd fit perfectly with the current theme and expand on what this update started. Alright, so that wraps up everything I wanted to talk about in this video. I know this update wasn't the biggest we've ever had, but even with just a few classes, a new weapon, and some quality of life changes, it already feels like it opens up a lot of potential for the future. And the fact that some of these things we talked about weeks or even months ago are actually showing up in the game, that honestly blows my mind. It proves again that the devs are listening, or at the very least that the suggestion tab in the official Discord is a solid place to look if you want a hint of what's coming. So yeah, if you've got your own cool ideas for new trains, weapons, enemies, or even entire classes, feel free to drop them in the comments. I read all of them, and I might even include some of your concepts in a future video. These kinds of community-driven videos are probably my favorite to make, especially when we start seeing those ideas show up in-game. And hey, if you enjoyed the video, or just like hearing these types of breakdowns and future concepts, don't forget to subscribe. We're super close to 10,000 right now, and your support seriously means the world. I'll keep covering leaks, concepts, and anything else Dead Rails throws our way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.